Okay, hi brothers and sisters, we're back for hopefully a quick little video. We're going to look at a little girl that we find in 1 Kings chapter 1. But I do plan on doing the wisdom study tonight. That'll be chapters 11 and 12, I think. Probably just going to fly by the seat of my pants. I made some notes in the book. I ain't had a chance to look at it again since the last study that we did in wisdom. Hopefully tonight, that's up next, and I'll post it as soon as I get it done, even though this will probably be up. So here we go. We're going to start in 1 Kings chapter 1, and we're going to take a look here at probably just this verse and a couple other ones. So then they searched throughout Israel for a beautiful young woman and found Abishag, a Shunammite, and brought her to the king. So when we go in here, we're going to find her to be actually told to us in this word that nobody wants to translate what it means, but we've studied enough that we've come to identify it to mean the daughters of the oath. That's what we've actually come to understand, that this number, strong Hebrews number 853. And they will rarely, if ever, translate this. So when we go in, okay, on verse 3 it is. So 1 Kings chapter 1, verse 3. Then they searched throughout Israel for a beautiful young woman and found Abishag, a Shunammite, and brought her to the king. Alright. The girl was unsurpassed in beauty, and she cared for the king, this is King David, and served him, but he had no relations with her. There was no sexual relations between this girl and the king. He was nearing his death. He could not keep warm in his old age. So they searched the kingdom for a young maiden. Alright? So when we go in on interlinear here in 1 Kings 1:3, we get the word 853. Strong's Hebrew 853. Now we have identified it to mean the daughters of the oath. I think this was an original daughter of the original covenant, and she was a descendant of that, and they were seeking for a daughter of this descendancy. Because when we hit on 853, which, like, again, they rarely if ever translate it, it takes you, it'll say, derived from 226, it means oath, and it's always in the context of these daughters that I find very important. Oath, apparently contracted from oath. This 853 is. And it means a sign, noun, feminine, 226. So I think it's not a mistake that, well, now what did it do? That word 853 is in this verse to do with Abishag. Now the other thing about Abishag is that she's a Shunammite. She's a young girl and she's a Shunammite, alright? And we get a kind of a slap in the head here when, what's his name? Right here. In 1 Kings 2:22, King Solomon answered his mother and said, "Why do you request Abishag the Shunammite for Adonijah?" I could say that name differently. Adonijah. "You might as well request the kingdom for him. After all, he is my older brother. Yes, for him and for Abiathar, the priest, and Joab, son of Zeruiah." Now, he was upset, Solomon was, because his mother was actually saying, well, give the Shunammite to I cannot say his name now. Adonijah. You know, what's the big deal? And Solomon said, well, he might as well hand him the kingdom, right? What's so fascinating about this Abishag? Alright, because there's not another mention of her after this spot here in 1 Kings chapters 1 and 2. And he was upset because one of his brothers, Adonijah, had declared himself king. And so Beersheba goes into David on his deathbed, more or less, and says, "You said that the king would go to my son Solomon." Now that's the promise that you made. Alright? And then we get this response in, and I thought I had all these passages pulled up, and no. That would make too much sense. Okay, so we'll go back in. We're going to go back right into the full chapter. All right. So here we get the search for this little Shunammite. And then we get David saying to Beersheba, so I'm just going to paraphrase the chapter here rather than read it. And now my computer has just completely gave up. Why not? Come on. Well. Okay. So the king more or less says, no. We'll see that he rides on my mule. Watch this in verse 33. This is important. This is an absolute important connection to make. Because we begin to understand that the allegory of animal allegory is so important to understand. Alright? So, verse 33, the king also said unto them, take with you the servants of your Lord, and cause Solomon my son to ride upon mine own mule, and bring him down to Gihon. And let Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet anoint him their king over Israel, and blow ye with the trumpet, and say, God save King Solomon. Alright? So why is mule important in verse 33? When we go in and we hit on mule, we still ain't done looking at Abishag. This is important. When we hit on mule, what's a mule? What's a mule? Why a mule? What's important to know about a mule? Right here. I'll get there. Maybe. Well, a mule is not a purebred. It's not a species in and of itself. It's a crossbreed, right? It's bred between a male donkey, which is a species of its own, and a horse, a female horse. Another species of its own. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Species, breed. And so they cross these two, a horse and a donkey, and they'll get a mule. And a mule is what? Most of us that knows this about a mule, is sterile. Because it's not its own species, it's a cross between two other species. Which are in the same, area that they can cross and produce. And they'll always produce a mule from a male donkey and a female horse, and they get a mule, and a mule will always be sterile, right? So why does David have a mule? You'd think David would have a horse, a donkey, even a camel. We're looking at the Middle East, but why under the sun a mule? If we're looking at the allegory. Well, if we go to this understanding in Revelation 6:13, and you can say, no, that's not it. This is absolutely the representation. David through Solomon. That line would end up sterile at the end when it was all said and done. That's the promise. That's why it's got a mule here. And you can say, no. Yeah, it's absolutely true. Revelation 6:13. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. So the figs is representing the fruit of the womb. Who exalted himself to the throne of God? Right? Let me see here. I gotta find it here. What was I looking for? I was looking for the commentary, I think, is what I'm looking for. And it does so take us to Solomon. We understood that it was Solomon that exalted himself to the throne of God. And we do so find it. See, now I'm mixed up. I can't remember where I was when I was reading the commentary. Alright, but we'll go in anyway. It was Isaiah 14. Okay, so we'll hit on this anyway. And we'll go to Isaiah 14. Alright, sorry about this. Okay. And what are we told in Isaiah 14 that is of importance? Alright? Because here we've got the figs casting themselves, right? Revelation, we'll read it again for a quick reference here. Where is it? Oh, it's aggravating. Okay, now it's not there because I backtracked. But in Revelations, the figs, as a fig tree casteth her figs to the ground. So that's the heavenly host falling to the earth in representation, which is the fruit of Babylon's womb. But we also know that the fig tree represented Israel, right? We get that all through the Old Testament. So we understand these things. So when we go to Isaiah 14, all right, we understood who this man was in Isaiah 14. All right? What does it say? Verse 13. Isaiah 14, verse 13. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. Now we identified the sides of the north was a congregation that met in the north, was a congregation of the daughters of Israel that flowed like a living water out of the north, and that they met in the house and forest of Lebanon. Now, I mean, if you want to know all this, you've got to go in and watch the videos to come up to speed on already understanding this, because I can't keep repeating it in every video, and I did for a good many of them. So in 14, I will ascend above the heights of the cloud, I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee, and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble? You see the key phrase here? Is this the man? This is Satan. This is Lucifer. Man. Lucifer is false light. Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake the kingdoms? Where else did we find this man described? Ezekiel 28. Right? Ezekiel 28. And how did we zero in on it? Was Solomon that was in reference here. It says, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus. That's Lebanon, right? Why is he in Lebanon? Because he exalted himself to the north congregation. Thus saith the Lord God, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou said, I am a God. I sit in the seat of God. That was the daughter of Israel, the daughter of Zion. Shake thyself out of the dust, dear daughter of Israel, Zion. That's your new branch. And take back thy throne. What throne? The throne that this man exalted himself to. And I am a God, and I sit in the seat of God in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man and not God, though thou set thine heart as the heart of God. He was after her throne. And how did we know who it was? Because of verse 3. We've done this study. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. Who was wiser than Daniel? There is only one man identified as being wiser than Daniel, and that is King Solomon. Which is why this passage of him riding, David saying, take my mule and let him ride on my mule. The mule was a symbol, and mule is feminine in this case. So he's got a female mule who is sterile, a future representation of what this posterity will become. And it is identified as the fig tree, Israel, and the host that falls out of those heavens, who exalted himself to that throne. Solomon did. Solomon did. What else are we going to find out about the Shunammite here? All right. Let me see here. Right there. So we're going to go up. We're just going to take a quick look at this. And you understand all the saints that says this isn't true, this isn't true. All right, all the ones who believe in Jesus, the idol, and whatnot. The day of the Lord is happening right under your nose. The day of the Lord will come like a thief in the night, it says. This is that in 2 Peter chapter 3, 2 Peter 3, I believe it says it in. That the day of the Lord will come like a thief in the night. So the true Lord comes like a thief in the night. You don't even see her. It's through her scepter, her daughters, that she enters into this. And she begins to show you the truth, which you all go, what a load of crap. You are representing that fig tree that's going to fall, actually. But what does it say in wisdom? The wisdom that we've been taking a look at. Chapter 3, verse 9. What does it say? And everybody will use this. It's a real pathetic sense of reasoning. Because the world has come to receive the wicked for righteous and the righteous for wicked. And we're talking about the true righteous. We're not talking about those that, you want to say is, they're claiming to be righteous and all. We're talking about the real righteous ones that have the truth of God and has sought the truth of God out. Versus those who thinks they are righteous. Who thinks they have the truth is idol. God says, I told you not to follow a man or a woman. I told you to follow my way. The first thing a Christian will do is go, Jesus, Jesus, I'm washing his blood. You don't wash in blood, you wash in water. You can't wash in blood, number one. Number two, you were to receive the law of God and walk in that law. And you stuck an idol between you and God. You did. And none of you can say it speak of the way of God without going, He. You can't do it. You've got that stuck between you and God, which is why the day of the Lord comes like a thief in the night. You don't even see her when she comes. But this is what it says in Wisdom. Chapter 3, in the Apocrypha, verse 9. Is it 9? Right here, verse 10. But the ungodly shall be punished according to what? To their own imaginations. Oh, but the prophecies are that were foretold are being fulfilled. Of course they're being fulfilled. We're also told they prophesied through the wicked imaginations of their hearts, of their wicked hearts, in Jeremiah 23. And wrote it down as if it was real prophecy. So God says, fine, if this is what you believe in, you're going to make it happen. You're going to bring it upon your own head. You want it so bad. These prophecies will be fulfilled, I promise you. You who wants to drink blood and wash in blood, I'll poison your water so you have to drink blood and wash in blood. That's what you want. You don't want to receive the truth. You want to turn to your idol. So much so that, but the ungodly shall be punished according to their own imaginations that you prophesied, which have neglected the righteous and forsaken the Lord, the true Lord, the true living Lord, that comes like a thief in the night and you miss her because you're bowed down at the feet of Jesus the idol, who when he comes to his temple, he has no regard for the God of women, it says. That means her head. Yeah. For those that are here. He has no regard for that. But what does it say here in verse 3 again? Let's just take a quick look at this. 1 Kings 1, and then we'll be done. So they sought for a fair damsel throughout all the coast of Israel and found Abishag, a Shunammite, and brought her to the king. This is the Shulamite. You'll say, well, it doesn't say Shulamite, it says Shunammite. Okay, well, let's go here. Let's go to Wikipedia. Punch in Shulamite. We'll put these links down below. What does it say? It says she is most likely called the Shulamite because she came from an unidentified place called Shulam. Many scholars considers Shulamite to be synonymous with what? Shunammite, a person from Shunem. Now, it's important to note that Shunem was a village in the territory of Issachar. Why is Issachar important here in this? Because Issachar was the tribe that wrote the law. Isn't that interesting? But you'll also notice David did not know her. He had no sexual relations with this woman. And there's no clear indication that even Solomon did. They write in Song of Songs as if this Shulamite had relations with Solomon. What does Abishag mean? You know what it means? Father of error. Father of error. Why is that important? Because it speaks of mother and daughter feeding on father corruption. The worm, your mother, feeding on father corruption. Your father has erred in the religious lies that he taught you, this idol. That's right. Which is why David has a mule that he rides on. You can say, no, that's exactly what it is. And we know that it's Solomon that is pictured to us having exalted himself to the throne of God. Which is why the host of heaven is pictured fallen, because the mule is sterile. That was a promise to God, a future promise to God. You'll have no children. You want children bowed at your feet and worshipping an idol. I told you no idolatry. That's not the way of God. You saw no image of me, you make no image of me, including this wonderful male that you all washed in his blood. Well, again, we'll end with this. The day of the Lord will come like a thief in the night, because of the people of this land. The ungodly shall be punished according to their own imaginations, which have neglected the righteous and forsaken the Lord. You want your false prophecies fulfilled, that your prophets, your false prophets prophesied out of the imaginations of their heart, as found in Jeremiah 23, and they were prophesying through Baal. Baal is a Canaanite image, an idolatrous image that you were not to be found bowing down to, which also happens to mean Lord of Dung, which is also another name for your husband, Baal. They were prophesying through themselves. Jeremiah 23. And caused my people to err and go astray, and have not seen what brought the daughters into bondage. Which takes us to Lamentations 2. You who have seen vain and foolish things for my daughters. You have not discovered your iniquity to take away your captivity. You're still captive under a religious lie. Isaiah 52, come away, daughter Zion. Take the yoke off of your neck. That's the religious lies and laws of Baal that he prophesies through the imaginations of his heart, that she promises will be fulfilled, and the day of the Lord will come like a thief in the night, because you won't even know the truth when you see it. So there we have it. Alright, which is why David has a mule. We know those that haven't been along on this study is going to look at that and go, puh, going to mock and laugh. Because pretty much everything we say on this channel, because you haven't been with us along in the journey, goes right over your head. Whether it's designed to do that and is truly only for the chosen few, I got to believe it is. I mean, most once their idol, they really do believe they're going home. I just don't happen to know where, because there's no place found for your proud waves, Babylon. Will be stopped. I placed a boundary. You'll not cross it. Not with your proud waves, bowing to a man as if he's Lord and God and preaching it to your children, and then allow that contamination into my heavens? I don't think so. Not going to happen. And you know, they're desperate to leave. The kings are trapped in the womb of Sheol. And I think they're desperate because I think the planets, most of them are dying out there. And they can't make more planets. That come from mother and mother alone. She was the one who allotted that, just like she's the one that allotted you a new body. Yeah, doesn't come from father. Yeah, you're without excuse not to understand my Godhead. I manifested it in what I created for your eyes to bear witness to. You are to witness to it, and you're not. You're witnessing to a lie, bowed down at the feet of an idol. And she says, well, fine, we'll cause your wicked imaginations to actually be fulfilled. So yeah, there's no wonder your false prophecies are coming true. That's what you wanted. So that's what you're going to get, but it's going to come back on your own head. Just like Satan, when he gets cast down from earth realm, when she was like God, rises up with the first fruits and crushes the serpent's head. The woman does that. It ain't a man. It's the woman who crushes his head. He may bruise her heel. Bruising her heel may mean to bruise those who actually come to belong to her in the earth when he's cast down upon their heads to fulfill all their wonderful prophecies that they prophesied out of the wicked imaginations of their heart. But I realize that would be hard to follow if you haven't been on this climb, which is your allegory of a she-goat. They cast her off the top. Yeah, that's your North Mountain. To also bear the sins, of what was being done inside the nation of Israel, which was to reject her law. Which come through the daughter's mouth, and they were doing it out of pride. And, greed. Greed is always a factor in there. For these sons of Belial, sons of Baal, they removed all of her rights, and in doing so, they removed all of her goods from her. And they come on them, and I was like, and then they start treating her like she's a good under the system as well. Anyway, we've discussed all of these things on multiple occasions, and if you're interested in knowing the full understanding that we've understood over time for those few that's been with us, we completely get it. We do. Anyway, that's the video. Thanks for watching. I pray the Lord blesses you with an abundance of truth. I do hope to get to the Wisdom chapter 11 and 12 tonight, and I will post it just as soon as that gets done. So I hope you're blessed with an abundance of truth. I thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a lovely day. And thanks again.